Jerrod Carmichael.
Jerrod Carmichael. Man.
Come on, give us context. What
Jerrod,
about him?
Car- Jerrod Carmichael has started a reality show. It's very documentary style reality. Um,
Seemingly unscripted.
Seemingly unscripted. Reality television is rarely ever unscripted. Um, so also even just saying scripted or unscripted is it can mean a lot of different things. To me, this show is heavily um the framework of the show is manipulated, right? So certain situations are happening on camera on purpose. Certain conversations are happening on camera on purpose. Um, so so yeah, however you want to look at it, even if it is unscripted, it's still they're still manipulating, like they're still making sure that the cameras are there when certain things happen. So in order to do that, you have to alter what's happening in real life, right? Like
Okay.
if me and you, for example, if me and you have beef, right? And we had a fight.
I'm not gonna apologize.
Okay. But let's say we had a fight, right? We had a fight that was on camera.
An
And
argument.
now
It's
an ar-
2024. We got to be clear about what we're saying.
an argument. I mean, it's just an example. I could even use someone else or other people. But let's say two people had a fight on camera, and now they want to go like talk to their friends or talk to whoever they confide in, or maybe they want to talk to each other. Well, what production is going to say is, no, hold off, don't call that person right now. We'll get in contact with them, see if they're available at 4 o'clock, and then you guys can meet up and have a conversation. And the reason I bring that up is because it also allows for like time in between for you to stew in certain things, maybe for you to calm down from certain things. Like it's manipulated in that way. So all of that being said, and all of that being considered, Jerrod Carmichael comes out with this reality show, which is I think it's really cool the way it's shot, because it doesn't look like it doesn't look like you're watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta or anything like that. It's shot more documentary style. It has a very cinematic look to it. Um, the camera angles that they're using are not your typical camera angles. Um, it reads to me more documentary than it reads reality, even though it's both. So I'll just say that. But a lot has happened on this show in 2 episodes.
Okay, wait. Hold
Uh
on. So I'm a little confused based on what you said. I didn't watch the show.
huh.
My understanding, based on all the talk I'm seeing, is that this is supposed to be like we're with Jerrod Carmichael on his everyday life, and there just happen to be cameras around. Is that the
Yes.
feel that you get, or does this seem more like a love and hip hop type of
No.
show?
It's not like Love and Hip Hop, and that's what I'm saying. It's very real to me. Like watching it, it's very real, and that's why I say the
Okay.
reason why I'm saying that no, it might not be scripted, but the thing they might do, and they break the fourth wall a lot on the
But
show.
that's what I heard. That's why I'm asking, because my what
So
I've heard is that this is not your classic reality show. This is really, hey, JD is living life, and there just happen to be cameras around.
yes, but he's aware that the cameras are around. For example, first episode that went viral, the moment that went viral was his moment between him and Tyler the Creator, who we find out people thought it was a joke. I even thought it was a joke. we find out that him and Tyler, the creator, are good friends, and he tells Tyler that he has feelings for him. He contacts him and specifically says on camera, I would like to have a conversation with you on camera about this. Or he says, I would like to have a conversation with you on camera.
Right.
So he's aware that the cameras are there. But again, instead of them going and having a private conversation away from the cameras, they are having this conversation on purpose because of the cameras, because
Got
the
it.
cameras are there. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think a lot of it is real and what's actually happening, but he also still has to be aware that there's a production company there, and you know, if you call your friend over, you're calling your friend over to talk to him on camera. You're not calling him over to, you know, have a private conversation with him.
Right. And
So
I heard the one dude was like, I don't want to do this.
yeah, so there is a friend who wears a mask and has like a voice changer when he's in the room.
In episode 1, right?
I think he's in episode 2. But
And I heard he's not in episode 2.
is he not in episode 2? I can't remember, but because I watched the first one and then I think I'll rewatch the first one and watch the second one right after. But so maybe I'm just getting them mixed up. But yeah, he comes on with his mask, looks like a gas mask, and he's got this voice changer, and he's like, I think this is bullshit, and I don't want to be on camera. I don't want them in my business, but I'm here because I'm.
I would so show up with a V for Vendetta mask if someone was doing this and asked me to come over. I
He's
would
like,
show up with like a hoodie on and a V for Vendetta mask and just be there like, nope, not doing this.
yeah. So that's how his friend shows up. It's a very honest thing that he's doing. So the two scenes that you see is either him out in the world. Most of the time it's in his home, and then the other part of it is him kind of narrating on stage. So
Ah.
he's like doing, it's like his stand-up routine. So it pans from him being on stage and talking to the audience, and he'll say something like, um in his style, if anyone saw Rothaniel or saw him, I think it was the Emmys that he hosted. If anybody saw that, he has a very specific style. He sits down on a chair. He kind of speaks casually to the audience. He's not super funny. His humor is a lot more dark. So it's the same type of thing where you see him on stage and he'll say something like, uh, I told my best friend I loved him, and he called me a stupid bitch. And then it'll show us what's real, that in real time.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's an interesting style, and that's what I'm saying. I think that's what I was so intrigued about in episode 1 was the way it was shot, and the way they're telling the story. He's an incredible storyteller. You can go back and look at other things that he's done to know that he's a great storyteller. But in that, there's a lot of cringy moments on this show. Not
That's
cringy
what I
because sexual things don't bother me. I don't have a problem watching that. Um, Somebody sleeping with a bunch of people, that don't really bother me either. Like, that's your business. I'm not doing it. So it's, I can watch things like that and not feel away or not judge the person. But what I can't do, oh, also homosexuality don't bother me. Like, y'all want to kiss and fuck or whatever, that's your business. What I can't deal with is anything that alludes to or suggests race play. Fuck that. I'm not doing it.
All right, give us some
I'm
context.
not doing it. In episode 2, we find out he has a boyfriend. Okay? It's a white man. All right? And for context,
Is it the
just
same person who went to the Emmys with him because Tyler wouldn't go with him? Oh, this another person.
no.
Okay.
In about 60 minutes, because that's about how much television we've gotten of it so far. In about
Oh, each
60
episode
minutes,
is only 30 minutes?
yeah, more or less. I think it is.
Okay.
if not, let's say 80 minutes, right? Because you know it's usually about 40 something minutes if it's supposed to be an hour show. Um, we get a lot of different men. He's very much in. He says like in gay years he's 17 because he just came out in his 30s. So he's basically, the way I understood what he was saying is that he's, he's new to this. And so
He's like the character. He's like the character that he's like the gay brother in the movie American Fiction.
yeah.
Because in American Fiction, he said, "I've been gay for 5 minutes. I got some catching up to do."
Right. And maybe not exactly the same because Jerrod Carmichael, Jerrod, he admits that like he knew he was gay and he was doing things in the shadows. It's not like he didn't have experience with men or anything like that. It's just that he couldn't be open, he couldn't be out about it. So now here it is, he could be as out in public as he wants. And I'm sure that's doubly there in his mind because he is a public figure. So imagine not being out and you're a public figure and now you kind of got to live in the shadows and do things in secret. And now here he is. He's able to do whatever he wants in public and it's fine. And he also has a reality show. So makes for interesting television too. So, yeah. But he gets this boyfriend. He meets this guy. It's a long distance relationship. But he's
Those are tough.
oh no, not for him because he said, "Listen, I got money. I could fly him out every week."
Well, then it's
I
not tough. I take it back.
said, "You know what? Hey, talk that shit to me, all right? Because that's dope. That's dope. I got money. I see him. Of course, I'll see him. That's that's not real people problems. Real people in long distance, regular ass people in long distance
Mm.
relationships be like, babe, I know and I'm gonna see you.
All right.
Okay.
It's getting tough out here. I'm trying to save up a couple dollars. The flight, they just boosted the price of the flight. I don't know.
That's honestly the reason people have problems with long distance relationships. Not knowing the next time you gonna see your man. Listen. But I know we gotta get going soon. But the race play stuff comes up because at some point he says to the boyfriend,
Who's
uh,
white?
who's white, who's a white man. I did say that, but he's and if we didn't say it before, Jerrod Carmichael is a black man. Um,
I will hope
he's,
people know that much.
they'll tell us we didn't say it. So Jerrod goes and he says something to the effect of, this is not verbatim, and maybe I should have wrote it down, but he says something to the effect of, you know, uh, you're like it's like a master and slave type of relationship or something like that. And he starts making jokes about this and his boyfriend looks mortified because if you are a
Mm.
progressive white man in 2024, that should make you cringe. So he had the exact reaction he should have had. But to me, that let us know that perhaps maybe this man is into race play, or maybe he just really enjoys like having his white men and having this fantasy of, you're the master and I'm the slave. And that is, I'm sorry, but that is a kink that
But let me ask you a
I don't.
question. Let me ask you something. In the BDSM world, right? There are times when a dom and a sub refer to themselves as master and slave. Not in every instance, but there are instances when that happens. Do we know that this is race based, or
This
is
was a
it
race show.
possible? Got it.
He
Okay.
elaborates on the joke on stage, and even
Oh,
people reacted like, "Hmm." And he was like, I know, I think it's funny. He doesn't think it's funny, which is a good thing, but I think it's funny. He
got it.
knows, he's very much aware of what he said and how he said it, and he's talking about race. He's not
Okay.
he's not talking about, I know exactly what you're talking about, and that is not, no.
Because when you said that, I even was thinking about the old Britney
No.
Spears song where she's saying, I want to be your
I'm
sex
gonna
slave.
leave. Yep. Yeah, no. I know. I'm aware.
Uh-oh.
But
It all comes down. Where's Kanye?
well, it was gonna fall down anyway. Yeah, I am aware
Okay.
that no, this was, I
So
think
so
this was
all the
very
grinder
clear.
stuff, all the stuff of him finding dudes on Grinder, you didn't take issue with.
No, I think that because there's a question of whether he's a sex addict or not. That he a question that he poses, and he is discussing with a therapist. Like the big issue in episode 2. Sorry if I'm spoiling it, but the big issue
Spoiler alert.
yeah, the big issue in episode 2 is that he's trying to figure out why he can't be monogamous.
Uh-huh.
He has this boyfriend, but he's not doing a good job at being monogamous.
And he wouldn't be
So,
with Tyler.
yeah, well, I don't know what, I was wondering what the time frame between the Tyler thing and this thing was, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Tyler said no, so he's free to sleep with or be with whoever he wants. But I just, yeah, that part doesn't bother me. Like, I'm not offended by it. I do wonder, like, what it is. Is it just that he is having fun, or is he seems sometimes a little tortured by his own life,
Mm.
and that's what's concerning. It's like, okay, well, what is this? Is this is this a reaction to something? Are you acting out? Um, because I don't care about, you can, do whatever you want, but when you display feelings of shame or feelings of, I don't know why I do this, I don't know what's wrong with me, then yeah, I'm willing to have a conversation and ask the questions. But outside of that, I mean, he want to fuck around with multiple men and be on Grinder and meet this person and bring this person back to his place. That's his prerogative. I mean, that might not be the way that I live my life, but I'm not
I
I'm
only
not
ask. Oh, go ahead, finish. Sorry.
I'm just not someone who judges people in that way. I also think that when you're doing something for TV, it could very well be that you, between him and production, that it's being painted in a very specific way. So it's never gonna look kosher. It's never gonna look respectable, and you kind of have to take it for what it is. Um, if that's the way he lives his life, there are plenty of people who like to have sex and like to have a lot of sex with a lot of different people, and that's just the way they roll. And
Yeah,
the difference
I'm
is
not.
he is showing us that he's doing that, and I think that's what makes people cringe, is that they're seeing it happen, because you're seeing the men in and out of his apartment. He's showing you all of that. There's a
Right.
scene where
That's
he's
why.
sucking
That's
on this
why
white
I
man's
asked. Yeah.
toes, and it's like, oh, okay. And then the next scene is him and another man.
Right, and that's why I asked, because it seems that people are shocked about a few things about this show, and that's why I'm asking questions, because
Mm-hmm.
um the I guess a few things have been said. Again, I did not watch the show,
Mm-hmm.
but a few things have been said. One is, it seems like he falls for people very quickly, as far as the emotional side, because feelings have come up multiple times with multiple men. As you said, it seems like he has issues with monogamy, and he's battling those things. And it also has been said that, yeah, the promiscuity is one thing, but there's an irresponsibility side, because he's a celebrity who's bringing these people to his home. He's not like at a hotel or going to their place. He
Right.
is going. He's bringing these people to his house,
Mm-hmm.
and that seems to be the main things that people are reacting to. Not so much the promiscuity piece of him sleeping around or dating around.
Mm-hmm.
More so the fact that these things are happening in his home, and he's a celebrity. He's a famous person, and the other thing is, um, I've also seen it. I've also seen people say that they think this is the image he wants to put out. Right, this is his show, and this is his. He's in charge of this show. This is his show,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to make it very clear that this is the image I'm putting out, and people seem to be questioning, why do you want this to be the image that you're putting out? So one of the things I heard was that people feel that this is uh, a bad way to represent yourself, and that it's irresponsible having all of these people in your home, and he's kind of throwing caution to the wind way too much, and it's kind of a turnoff, and that's why people don't want to see the show at this point. Not necessarily because it's an openly gay black man expressing his sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there is that, but I'm saying it seems like there's less of that and more of people saying like, this is really irresponsible and weird. This isn't for me. So
I
that's why
mean,
I'm asking certain questions, because I didn't see it, and I just said, "Oh, okay." Since you saw it, I figured we can ask some of those questions here. But that's why I'm asking about the grinder and stuff like that.
yeah, I think everybody has their own moral compass, and I think that you should watch the you should consume the content that works for you and where you are. I don't think that you should ever watch something that makes you uncomfortable or makes you feel weird or feel like you're encouraging something that you don't believe in. So I totally understand that it may not resonate with people. I've said after both episodes, I've said I don't know if this is for me.
Okay.
Um,
Why?
because I don't know. I mean, after this slave and master thing, like that's when I was like, I don't even know if I want to watch this,
Okay.
because to me, when it gets to that point, that's what made me question things.
Okay.
I think portraying himself the way he is the fuck you to his parents, to be honest. Um,
Um. Okay.
because I think the original trailer shows like an interaction with him and his mom, and she's not taking his coming out well. Um,
Okay.
so there is that. They did show there was like one scene where she called and congratulated him. She or sent him a voice note or something to congratulate him on the Emmys. But outside of that, I think since he came out on his special and they found out like around that time, I don't really think he's had much of a relationship with his parents. Um,
Um.
so I think this show is, I think a lot of it is rooted in that. Um, but I don't know. I don't know this man personally, but I would imagine that if he's seeing it as promiscuity, if he's seeing it as misbehaving, I think that, or if it's like acting out, I think that's probably where this would be coming from.
Okay.
Um, but for me, the first episode, I was just like, wow, this is a lot. This is sensory overload. And sometimes when I feel overstimulated by a show, I just won't go back to it until I'm ready to do so. So that
Okay.
was my first thought after episode one. Um,
Okay.
but I said when I spoke about it on Hardly, I said I'm gonna watch it again because I don't know that I dislike the show. I think I actually really appreciate his honesty, um, and the way the show is shot. I love, so I'm gonna watch it again.
Okay.
Episode two, watching it again, it was overstimulating. But the thing that really stuck out in my mind was, if we're gonna talk race play, I didn't like it when Mano was talking about being with a white woman and her being a slave master. I don't like I'm a black woman. I'm not interested in any of that. I don't know how people do it. I'm sorry. I can't be a black person and fucking a white person and thinking of myself as a slave and them as a master. And again, I'm not talking about dom and sub situations. I'm talking about race play, like
No, I got
specifically
you.
that. So that's what stressed me out. As soon as I heard that, I said, "Oh no, that's what he's on." I'm not. I'm not with that, because I think when we do things like that, black, meaning black people, we're giving something to white people that I just it just doesn't sit well with me.
No, and that's okay. It's okay for you to feel uncomfortable for whatever reason. You don't have to be accepting of everybody's kinks. I mean, I think it's a weird situation when we talk about race play, because I'm not Jerrod Carmichael, but I'm pretty open about sexual things that I am I don't want to say into, but that I'm accepting of. Um, but I also think when it comes to certain things, you know, child play, things with animals, there's certain stuff that it gets a little weird. And it's like, yeah, I mean, everybody can be into what they're into, but there are some that are hard to accept. And so I understand what you're saying. I think there's a difference between kink shaming and just saying like, this thing is hard for me to come to terms with.
Yeah,
So I get what you're saying, and I don't think that's wrong. Um, I think there are some that are hard to accept.
yeah. I can't. So that was kind of, for me. I was like, oh, I don't know about episode 3 yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, but we'll see, because he was really smart in releasing the shit about him and his mom in the trailer, and then not showing us any of that yet.
Gotcha.
So, because and Rachel Lindsay was like, "That's what I thought I was coming here for." She was
Fooled
on the
ya.
link the other day, and I was like, "Me too."
Well, that's what a good trailer does.
Somebody tell the people of good times. Anyway.